the writing style that comes out of it is a lot different. A lot of it's more stream of consciousness. There's like higher minded, there's more experimental. So it's not like it's actually pretty good stuff sometimes. Like I'm really, really surprised. It's really cutting edge, and that was the funnest part of LAMP. You're gonna get really cool cutting edge shit, and then you're gonna get awful burger punk goy slop as well.
Welcome back to the Unreal Press podcast. My name is Miles McNaughton, and today we are interviewing the admin of LAMP magazine. My guest today also is Ogden Nesmer, a very famous 4chan author. You guys might know him for Eggplant and I Pray to the Hungry God. LAMP editor, and Ogden, thanks so much for coming on the show, you guys.
My pleasure. I'm really excited actually to meet you, Augie.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too, man. It's been a while that we've been working together, and I've never heard your voice, man. It's good to hear that you're like, not a robot or something.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Yeah, there was some argument that was going on in a 4chan thread recently where Ogden was accusing you of stealing his genius idea of choose your own adventure, an idea which, by the way, has never ever been done before in the history of
Correct.
history of 4chan.
Yeah, I've
been.
No, that was. Well, you got to explain, because you've been already putting work into this.
I think it was really funny. It's like, when something is discovered, like you discover something genius, and then on the other side of the world, someone does the same thing. I don't know what it was. I had written Chicken World, and I thought to myself, I was really, really excited to do a choose your own adventure. And as soon as I heard about that, actually, I just saw something that you put up there, Augie, for that, and it's really, really neat. It's really, really frustrating to write, especially I think I'm at about like 16 parallel kind of worlds now, and it's really, really tough. It's a challenge, and I don't know. It's not very fun. It's not as fun as I thought it would be. And I just saw your diagram there. It looks like a headache.
Well, that's the thing that, like, because there's really hasn't been too much to steal because I haven't put pen to paper yet. I haven't tried to write it because, as you're saying, I can only imagine it's going to be a bitch to keep up in your head, to keep the threads going and stuff like that. So my whole idea is get the framework down and have everybody else do the writing, and then break it up into chunks so that no one has to keep threads up in their head because, that does sound very difficult. That's kind of above my pay grade.
And then you get to rake in the cash.
Exactly.
There's different writers have different kind of methods of outlining and planning, and I'm like a really heavy planner, but for this one I'm just kind of freeballing it. I really appreciate your planning though, and I haven't actually dove into that yet, but yeah, it might be cool to team up. To be honest, I don't really know much about your project, but I'm down to contribute.
We'll have to see. Let's just cross our fingers because it could be a disaster. But
yeah, that's
right. But hey, that's experimenting.
Yeah.
So actually, I wanted to bring that up because you can I call you just editor or admin or something? What do you prefer?
You guys can call me Ryan. My name is Ryan.
Ryan, nice to meet you. I'm Miles.
Nice.
So Ryan, let me ask you. You said earlier that you're more of a planner, right? And in your time working with the LAMP magazine, have you ever come across people who seem like they really plan out their stories, or is it always just, oh, I threw this schlock on the page and then I'm going to give it to LAMP and they're going to throw it up in a magazine?
There are definitely some writers that are way more conscientious, or maybe I could say intentional than others. So some of my favorite writers for LAMP were the ones that when I started the publication, it was in 2020, and the very first submission I got was from this guy named, his name's Cal, and he sent in a submission called "The Justice System." And I don't know if you remember it. It was so good. It was gold. It's still the best article we've ever got. The very first one. It belongs in Rolling Stone. It's that good. And so this guy actually, he contributed a few times, and his stuff I could tell was really, really intentional. And he would tell me it's coming. And then I think after a time he got bored just sending in stuff, so he maybe made up a name and started sending in stuff from another name. I can always tell it's him because the work is so high quality. and he's actually the anon, not to dox anyone or anything, but he's the guy that put together the Moby Dick lit commentary. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's a
that's
fucking awesome.
that's lit royalty right there.
Yeah,
yeah,
seriously.
yeah. It was really cool. He sent me when he published the Moby Dick. I actually ended up getting this really sexy, like special edition hardcover because I worked on it a little bit with him. But some dudes are so they're so talented, and you can tell you can just sort of like if you got a letter, like let's say you got a letter in the mail from like Thomas Pynchon, you'd open it and you just every word would be so heavy, every word would be so meaningful to you. So it was kind of like that. There are others that would send me just so much material that it was sort of diluted of any interesting content, and you know, I do read everything, and I don't mind reading crap. But it's really, really nice when someone puts their back into it and I get something good.
Well, can I ask, like, what? I mean, this is kind of a gay question, but like, going back to before any of this, started, what made you want to do something collaborative on 4chan? The only thing I can think of before Lamp that was, collaborative again that I can think of is Lit Quarterly, and that kind of has as famous of a fall as it's run. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know, but when I look at Lamp, it like captures the energy. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like curated, but it's really well presented. So it
yeah.
feels very like, I don't know, conscious. Like everyone is kind of aware of how they want to present it. But I guess what made you want to do that?
Yeah, that was a really inspiring time. I remember that a lot. I was sort of new to lit. You're supposed to lurk. I lurked for a few years before. And what really, really knocked my socks off about lit was it was the only board I could find that was really collaborating and creating works of art at all. And so during
Mm.
this time, I think what was being released was total, the
Totalitarian
totalitarian.
in a tundra.
You got it. You got it. Yeah, there was a lot of those coming out, and I was so pumped on that. I thought these Google hot docs were super cool. Get in there and you're collaborating, and it was really neat to see them evolve in real time. And I thought that was so cool. I really wanted to helm a project of my own, and I remember I played around with some fucking gay ideas, like a zine, like this stupid little zine. I had like a hot doc I wanted dudes to get in on. I didn't really know what I was doing, and then I found Canva.com one day, and
Sure.
the rest is kind of history. Canva is so killer. I will shill for Canva all day. I just really got FOMO when I saw them dropping these sweet works, and one of the first guys I teamed up with on Lamp was named Prussia, and he was the guy responsible for putting together a work called Corona Maran, and he worked on Tundra a bunch too.
Oh wow, jeez, there's a lot of history there.
Yeah, I didn't know that like Lamp was such a like super group and like all these different people were spreading off. That's
Yeah, I thought it was just like one dude and an email inbox. I didn't know it was like a fucking team.
I had a lot of help in the beginning from Prussia. Prussia was a
Mm.
really good designer. He's got a really fine touch. And my in real life homie Colin, he his writer's name was DBS. He actually helped put together a bunch of the fiction at the beginning. He's dead now. He killed himself a few years ago, and I think I dedicated the Fatal Collision edition to him. But he never went on lit or anything. He was just a homie of mine. But Prussia was a really big deal. This guy was a super slick, this guy did shit. He was really cool, and he was the first one to kind of show me that you can make waves kind of by marshaling those resources that Lit has to offer, if you can say that.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
I guess you've talked a little bit about the history, and most recently, I think everyone on Lit is very well aware that there was a long and suddenly inexplicable absence, which I think you did explain eventually in a 4chan post. So, if you don't
Right.
mind, like what happened? What caused the hiatus?
I think like when I made it, it was really fun, and we had a lot of energy in the beginning, and it was cool to do single. It was a monthly publication. I wanted to do it every month. That kind of slowed down as subs stopped coming in, and then it became maybe every couple months. And I said to myself, I actually always encouraged everyone. I thought someone might come and take it from me. Someone might come and want to do it. I thought maybe the community might take it over and usurp it from me, and that never happened. And that's okay. I can kind of understand why. I ended up, God, man, my life went nuts. Like my life's been so crazy. I think for the first time I went on hiatus, I probably went back to the farm to try and sort out my drug addiction, sort out my life. I went to rehab there for a bit, and I think in 2022 I only put out a couple issues, and they were good issues, but I only put out a few because my life was just turning around. And I recently got out. I went, man, I've been through a bunch. I was arrested. I was dealing drugs out in the countryside. And like I said, my friend actually ended up killing himself at the end of 21. So everything, like a really formative part of Lamp Magazine. So everything was just blowing up. And I said to myself, and I think I said to 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 all of the collaborators and contributors, I sort of said, you know what, it is what it is. You get it when you get it. I got shit going on. If no one else wants to helm the editing or the designing team, then you're just gonna have to wait. And the community is so good; it's really cool. I mean, I can speak to writing communities in general and how they have flaws, but the Lamp Crew has always been really neat. And yeah, there's a bunch of stalwarts there. It's really cool. There's been a few like ex generals, that Ari guy, kind of like, he took off, and then there was this burger bitch. I forget his name, Bricks or whatever. He fucked around and found out, but yeah, I don't know. It's been a lot of fun, just the chaos, and I don't take it too seriously anymore, and that lets me do it when it's good for me.
That's good, man. So, this burger guy, I can't tell if you mean burger as an American or like a burger punk writer.
Both.
Oh, he was a burger punk writer too.
So in the beginning, I think on the first or second or issue of Lamp, there's some burger punk story. It's not the first one. The first one has a burger punk story, or maybe it is the first one. And then anyway, I asked him to design some of the magazine, and he got in there, and he was a really shit designer, and it was just clip art all over the fucking wall. And
What a
I told him,
legend.
hey man, you gotta like take a hike here. We'll do your story, but but you suck. And he told me not to print his work, and he fucked off. And I still see him lurking sometimes. I think he contributed something else. I can kind of tell his prose. It's really crappy,
Mm,
but there's a lot of it.
that's fun. That's pretty fucking hilarious, actually.
Yeah, I don't want to out him here. If he is cool, he changed. He went back to being anonymous instead of fucking bricks
Right.
or whatever.
Well, no, I mean, again, not to dox anyone, but you mentioned, who was taking over the best of issue of Lamp, and for a while, that was a really good collaborative. All the threads, people would come in and they'd do the votes
Wow,
for their favorites, and they'd plan out how it's going to be. It didn't turn out, but like for a while, like you said, no one took on the helm, but a lot of people have kind of stepped up and you know taken on some aspect of Lamp, which I think is
that's
pretty cool.
really interesting. That's super interesting to me. And actually, I'm really proud of that. I think that's cool that the community did that. I was
Yeah.
pretty much totally absent during that period because of what was going on. I might have been locked up, or I might have been, I'm not sure exactly where, but I think that's really, really cool. I don't fully understand the drama that came of it because I haven't reviewed those
I
threads,
don't.
but
No one does. I don't think. I think. Yeah. No one. No one does. But it didn't work out. You know.
I will say that apparently, I like without saying too much, I guess that Ari guy definitely did come to me with a bunch of personal drama, talking about how he was being like
Mm,
cyber stalked and stuff. So I don't know if that's relevant.
mm.
That's gay op Discord shit.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
And that's maybe not my cake to share with anyone, but I mean, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. I don't really know who he is, and yeah, he had some beef with himself or something, but it sounds like he's no longer helming that. I would love to take on the best of or the greatest hits and
Yeah.
do it my way. I think that would be more appropriate, but I'd
Oh
like to
yeah.
get that energy back. And there's so much energy with Unreal right now that I just kind of I'm down for the ride. And
Dude,
yeah, I
it's actually been kind of insane to watch like actual threads get made of Unreal And we don't make those threads. I know that's kind of lame
Right.
coming from a host of a podcast that's run out of Discord. It's like, oh well, we're not making those threads. It's not us.
No, but it's the
But
Yeah.
same collaborative thing. You know, people want to be involved, and just for its own sake. So I think it's awesome.
and that's what
Yeah.
we want, right? Like we want people to hop in the Discord. We want people to be like, "Hey, I've got this idea. I've got this story," because then that allows us to generate shit tons of more content. We can make more podcasts. We can make more Tales of the Unreal. We can make more anthologies, and then all this content is really just kind of boosting lit in general.
Yeah.
It's like the two cakes thing, you know. It doesn't matter really how big the cake is because the audience only sees, "Holy shit, there's two fucking cakes on this table."
Sure. I've never heard the two cake
No, I've never
paradigm.
heard two cakes either. I like. What about
You got,
three cakes? I mean, shit.
you guys have never seen that comic where there's like a giant, like 10-foot tall wedding cake, and a guy comes by, is like, "Oh man, this guy's cake is way better than mine." And the next panel is a guy with two forks. He's like, "Holy shit, there's two cakes on the table."
No,
Yeah,
but
you're right. Right.
that's brilliant.
Yeah, perspective is everything. I mean, it's really cool. The ranks of this of Unreal are. I mean, it's really cool when you have an actual squad because when one guy like, one guy spins back to like wipe his brow, you got the next guy up. He's got another book. He's on the scene for the podcast. It's really cool. You've got a you've got a throng of dudes here, and I want to be. I want to be in that crew. That's why I started Lamp. I wanted to like be in a writing gang from the internet, and it's really cool seeing what you guys do. I regret any time that I draw attention to myself and away from Unreal. I'm just like I'm so stoked, and I'm so
Well,
stoked.
Dude,
it's
two
I think
cakes, dude, two
there's like
cakes.
yeah,
self-publishing renaissance on Lit right now. It's wild.
yeah.
It's it's kind of been nutty. Go ahead, Augie.
Well, no, it's really been taken off. I mean, like we're saying, it's just nuts. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't want to step on anyone else's toes, but like for me, that all comes from Lamp. Like the whole reason that I wanted to send eggplant into Lamp serially was not just to get noticed, but because it was already like a thing that everyone was doing, and I was like, that's fucking awesome. Like I want to be a part of it.
Yeah,
So and yeah, no, the more the merrier, man. Like
yeah,
that's to me, that's like the whole point. There should be no barriers, but your own willingness to actually put in the work. So
yeah,
yeah, get everybody on here.
And that's what's the coolest thing too about now partnering with AMP. Unreal is starting to try to build its presence a lot more, and AMP already has a really established presence. So you get those two credibility things going, and it's sort of like an exponential curve. Now you've got Unreal Press, you've got AMP. There's probably going to be some other new press that's going to show up later for people who want to do something completely different from Unreal or completely different from LAMP.
yeah.
It's going to
It's
be it's
really
going to be pretty insane. I think the next even year and a half.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like I had been away for a little while, and when I come back there's all this cool momentum, and as soon as I found that I was like fuck it. Like I'm here. I want to like I haven't been to the other boards in a while now, and I'm kind of becoming obsessed. I've started all these projects. Like that's what Lit does for me. It really like motivates me to be creative, and it is really cool to see everyone's different style, and I don't know what's going to happen. Like I left and I come back, and now F Gardner's got like 17 more books, and he's on the crew, and it felt really good. I saw this really cool document come from the paste bin in WG or something, and I decided to sort of make a live directory with a lot of these writers on the website for Lamp, and I really Lamp always was supposed to also bring all these documents together in a single place. So I really encourage like writers to get at me and let me read their work right now. Actually, and I wanted to speak to something because Augie in the beginning, Ogden was one of the first. He was the first writer that actually wanted to serialize his work, and I think he was the first novelist that brought something that was bigger, that was better. There's a lot of shit. I get a lot of crap, and yeah, it was really nice to see something that was polished. And then when that was finished, like when he finished Eggplant and it was there, I became really envious. I was like, that's it. That that's it. And seeing these guys work in paperback, it's like, oh yeah. So it really motivates me to keep going. That's what Unreal does too.
That's what we aim to. I mean, we're trying to put out, what is it, like four Tales of the Unreal this year, pretty much one a quarter. And of course, they're all going to be based off of the Weird Tales, so they're all going to be horror slash pulp. But at the same time, we're running a nonfiction anthology. By the way, you can join the Discord and you can submit
Wow.
any piece that you like to the nonfiction anthology, or if you've got a horror piece, we're taking year round submissions for all of our Tales of the Unreal.
Okay, that actually sounds great. I There's always that sort of like, how do I get in real life? In a lot of these publications, like not in real life, I mean like in TradPub, the windows are so narrow and the like hoops are so thin. Um, I always get shit that's like in the email. Oh, submit your story, but it's too fucking late. I like that you're. I was gonna ask you guys like, how do I kind of be a part of this? But if it's as easy as write it and send it, it sounds like you guys are doing like a good job of holding on to material and making use of it. That's good.
We are. We've got two great editors and one guy actually who is a graphic designer. So in the most recent Tales of the Unreal, all of those like pictures that start each little short story, they were designed by someone who's in the Discord. So, and then of course the actual Tales of the Unreal formatting, the whole wraparound of the book, the cover, that was all also designed by the same guy. So we've got a really high quality graphic designer in
Yeah.
there. And of course the editing is done by someone who knows how to edit, knows how to copyright, knows how to obviously write as well. And the rest is just we make sure that there's no typos. We don't really mess with stylization too much. And what you put there is what you get. So if you screw up on a story, as you could probably see most recently in one of the Unreal threads, the HMS Mariana was getting crapped on for a bunch of plot holes, which was hilarious, by the way. But I did like that story. I thought it was good.
Well, yeah, which is
Uh,
funny because that's probably my favorite story in that Tales of Unreal collection. And you fuck a plot hole, like it's awesome. I love that fucking story. It's such a good like build. It's eerie. The character feels very authentic. I thought the end was actually, the whole time I was like, how's he gonna end this? And I thought the end was phenomenal. So look, that's where I stand on the Mariana conflict on this side of the Mariana Trench.
I
Uh,
mean, Tales was supposed to be, in my opinion, Tales is more atmospheric than it is about plot. That for me is how you should really write horror, and the plot sort of becomes secondary because
Yeah.
when you write a horror story, you're really not writing to scare the characters; you're writing to scare the reader.
that's a good point.
It doesn't matter, particularly if the characters are not frightened, because the atmosphere that you're building is not for them. It helps engross the reader and engage the reader if they're seeing, oh shit, this character is freaking out. Like, what could be happening? But
Yeah.
if the character is just wondering, huh, like, what are those footsteps I'm hearing in the hall?
Mhm.
But if it's 10 o'clock at night and you live alone in an apartment or in a house, the thought of hearing footsteps in the hall is going to freak you the fuck out. Right. And that's the atmosphere that you want to go for when you write horror stories.
That's cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. I think the funny thing about horror is that like a lot of work ends up sort of becoming horror, or of mine anyway, when you sort of like put a dark element into it. There's even parts of Eggplant where I thought, oh, whoa, like, and I didn't know that. I think the sort of pulpy horror thing is such a lovely kind of genre to explore. It's almost infinite, and it's really cool that you guys are putting it out in paperback. It's just so fucking cool. What's the kind of word count for those stories?
Uh, so usually for tales, it's about between 2 to 5,000 words.
Cool.
Uh, we will take stuff that's longer. I think Crake's was like 7,000 words for KGB, something under the stars. But 2 to 5 is a good short story kind of realm. You start getting into the 10K range, you start worrying about branching out something into a little bit bigger, and that may go beyond the scope of the actual story. And then you got to think about the reader as well. Does the reader want to sit and read a 10,000 word short story, or are they going to flip to the next 2 or 3,500 word story instead?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pacing
Yeah,
thing.
that's really cool. It's cool that you've got them like I said before, you've all sort of come together. I'm not sure who was where and when, but it's really neat. Like it's really an actual squad. And I'm really proud to be a part of that because like in a real squad, when someone fucking ducks down, there's like a guy right behind him, like bam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
we've
all
had
of
a. Go ahead,
it's
Augie. Sorry.
been, you know, this is weird because it's like I don't know. I don't want to go off on a whole rant, but it's like with the self-publishing thing, it's also pretty obvious. But it's like you have to build. You don't just have to do your own work, write your own stories, design your own magazines or whatever. You have to build your own platform. Like 4chan, as much as we think it's a community or whatever, it's not really set up to be a place for this kind of stuff. And so it's been a long time coming. And I think that it's like, I don't know, I guess I think LAMP is like, that's the perfect thing to start all of this because it's the first thing, again, in my mind. There are other things, but like, look how many people have come together on LAMP and it just keeps like the ball keeps rolling. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's been a bitch. You were talking about how cool it is to have that eggplant when it was done. Like, this is it. To me, it was like, I was always looking at Lamp and being like, oh my god, this is like the thing. Like, this is where you can get everyone to actually like read something and like get their attention like locked. And for the longest time, well, I mean, Lamp had already been around. I guess it wasn't for the longest time, but like I don't think it would have been possible really to get people's attention without some other gimmick to go along with your book, other than just saying, here's my book that I wrote. You
Exactly.
need something like Lamp to do that.
It's like
So yeah,
that's the part of the gang. That's a good, like, you're right. That's
yeah,
kind of
man,
the beginning. And I mean, I was inspired by Lit Quarterly. Lit Quarterly was a bit sterile and
yeah,
like 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 Master of Arts, but it still held its place. And you don't see this on other boards. You don't, like,
right.
I've really tried, and you just don't see the kind of collaborative creativity on other boards, probably for good reason. We're not really, like, this is a fucking pretty sick place most of the time, but lit is lit is a diamond in the rough for sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that, and it's like I don't know. It's interesting because what always used to kind of frustrate me is seeing on Lit people who you see this thread a lot where people are like, can I make easy money if I just self-publish a bunch of smut and then we'll have it for sale on Amazon? And
No.
I don't really care if someone's publishing smut or making money off it. Like, more power to you. But it's just the attitude that it's like, how do I squeeze a couple bucks out of this? Like, what's in this for me? But like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Lamp Unreal, it's really a filtering thing where like you have to be in it for its own sake, and you have to appreciate simply the thrill of like having someone on 4chan reach out to you and be like, hey, I read your shit, it was really cool. And I mean, not like we don't have higher goals or anything, but it's just like you can't look at that as just some kind of like stepping point. You really have to do kind of appreciate that. So it's cool to see that people do appreciate that.
absolutely.
Um, yeah.
It's a Minecraft server. It's like it's this guy's
Yeah.
job to build the roads, and it's this guy's job to build the pipes or whatever. Yeah, I got to
Yes,
clear the woods.
exactly.
And so when you start working together, that's a thing. I don't like ever expect to make money on publishing, but when the wheels in my head get turning, I think it's possible because look how clever we all are. That's pretty much the reason why I want to write the choose your own adventure. Of course, I
Mm,
want to do it creatively. I want to do it to exercise my creativity. But if I can market a bunch of these adults, if they can like maybe go viral, seeing a choose your own adventure with like serial killer, crack dealer, hopefully maybe you can make money doing this. I can
yeah,
see guys like Mike Ma and even Walden, maybe, or even fucking F Gardner. They're like, if they're turning a buck at all, I mean, Cormac McCarthy was like dirt poor, couldn't make $40 rent. Like, I'll be a
yeah.
starving artist if I can eke it out. I mean, you just got to come at it from a writer's perspective, not really like a hustler's perspective.
Right. And then I don't, it is tough. It is definitely, you would like it to go a little easier, but the marketing in itself is pretty fun too. I mean, or pretty
Yeah.
interesting. It's a way to be creative. I mean, when I look at the different writers in Unreal and their different ways of tackling like how to reach people, it's like it's like a think tank. Everyone's very experimental.
Those are the things I really enjoy about being on the Unreal, especially seeing like how people write and how people approach. Like we have people who care extremely much about every little like syllable. Harry Frater Asalim is very much like that. He'll if you break down one of his poems or if he breaks it down for you, it is insane. Like he's on a syllable by syllable basis, and then other people are just like, here's my goy slop. It's like Brandon Sanderson. Boom. Here's the plot. Don't care so much about the prose. If I happen to get a good pairing of words here or there, good to go.
We've
And
got
their just approach to that is different, right?
we've got a lot of different types of autism in the server. It's a pretty big
There's a lot of autism in that server.
an autistic person zoo. There's just all different varieties. It's really cool.
That
Yeah,
is
we've
really
had we've
cool.
had some crazy people.
It's really cool to see the different styles of people's writing styles because I know in general we all think we're good writers. I mean, I don't think any of us think we're the best, but we all probably prefer our writing when compared side by side to someone else's. And so when we really try our best and we have a really cool editor that has like a good head on it on their shoulders, that's when you see really cool shit. I'm really excited to read the anthology, the Tales of the Unreal, because I want to see that juxtaposition. And I think I'm also really stoked to do these reviews because I'd like to see what everyone's got in their pocket. I don't give a fuck if you're bad or if you're good, but you're here, and I've always felt like that. F. Gardner is like an annoying shill, and his writing is shit, but he's totally here, and he's still helping us like build the hype machine. So I mean, like, I've called I'll call him a fat. I was in the thread the other day. I call him right out for being shitty, and he's right there in my DMs on Discord, being like, "What's up, man?" Like he loves the negative attention, and I don't care. I love that too. I want to help.
Yeah, having the negative attention, any attention at all, is really good. The story that I put in, it's true because the story I put in Tales of the Unreal, there was a thread where it's like, dude, this fucking ghost story sucked. Like that was the worst one in the whole book, and I was like, Jesus, what'd you not like about it? And the dude was like, well, since you asked, and he gave me a whole ass post of everything he didn't like and why, and it was perfect. It was the kind of feedback that you want. I can't
Totally.
remember who it was. I think it was Ogden's interview where he said, I'd like to be engaged, and I don't care if you crap on it, but just tell me what you didn't like. Oh, it was Kit Williams' interview. Sorry, it was Kit Williams who said that.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
engage with it. I don't care if you're like, oh, it's great. Oh, okay, well, what's
Yeah,
wrong? Like, how can I make it better?
no, that's true. The best things that I've ever read are really not full compliments or adoration or anything. It's when people break it down and they're like, what did you mean by this? Like that's what I think is even better is when people tell me what I interpreted this to mean was et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people on lit are really engaged as opposed to some other boards. I've been on other boards and tried to be creative. There are certain equivalents, like on the comics board. I know there's like a how's your web comic thread. Everyone makes their own web comic, but Ryan, you're right. Like the collaborative nature where people are just so interested in it and trying to work together to make something good. I only see that on lit, and I think that's probably why even though I'm effectively perma banned, I will probably always just lurk lit until I die.
Oh yeah, I did not know. Is there a story there, or
Yeah,
is that like more of a
I
joke?
got well. So when Eggplant first came out, yeah, I was posting a couple threads about it, and I got perma banned. I can still post like if I find a wayward Wi-Fi signal or something like that. But no, for the most part, I just kind of have to sit back and watch. But who knows? Maybe my laptop will take a shit and I'll get a new one and I'll be able to chill
Yeah,
freely.
Yeah, if you might be able to like change the dynamic IP. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you're fine, but it's probably better to lurk anyway because you don't actually get shit on your hands.
This
It,
is the first certification I've found that Ogden is actually a boomer because he doesn't know you can just get on Fortune on your phone, turn off your mobile data, and then get a free flexible IP and just ban evade.
oh, I am
Like,
fucking.
bruh, this is 2009 shit. Come on.
I am like technologically fucking retarded. I don't. I mean, I am like, yeah, no.
You're
I
good.
am
You're
a
good.
boomer. Yeah, mentally.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. The lit is interesting to me because it's just like every other part of 4chan. Like you're not going to get any sugar there. I'm really proud of the small level of critique that does exist, honest critique that does exist in the circle. I think it's hard to get honest critique when you're offering art as well because you want to like suck this guy's dick so that he sucks your dick. And so I want to be able to offer like an actual review service. And I want to make it like a sort of a pitchforky thing. Like I don't want
Sure,
anyone to get I don't want anyone to get over 50% unless they've earned it.
sure.
If the standard is like Moby Dick here or Frankenstein here, like if I'm going to compare everyone to like the greats, the writing style that comes out of lit is a lot different. A lot of it's more stream of consciousness. There's like higher minded, there's more experimental. So it's not like it's actually pretty good stuff sometimes. Like I'm really really surprised. It's really cutting edge, and that was the funnest part of lamp. You're going to get really cool cutting edge shit, and then you're going to get awful burger punk goy slop as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I remember from. I think this was the issue that the first chapter of Eggplant was in. There was that story, Viva el Estados de Baseball,
Yeah.
and it's basically it's like it's told first person from this like this I won't spoil the ending, but it's basically this person who's involved in like a riot after a baseball game in some South American country where eventually they like take over the country and like rule it. I I I don't know. I remember like looking at Eggplant and being like, fuck yeah, there that is. Like finally got this out, can't wait. During a couple pages, reading the story and being like, holy fuck, this is 10 times better than any like this is I love this. This is insane.
Yeah.
And I'll never see any more about it again. I don't know who this person is. It's incredible. That's the other cool thing about 4chan stuff. Even though we've been in this a while, we know each other. So many people who contribute such great things, they're anonymous. They're not ever going to take credit for it. They're just
Yeah.
putting their piece of gold in the bucket and then they're leaving. It's
That's
it's,
that's a
it's really
good
interesting.
point. It's really neat to me, and like I would circle back to that. My first contributor to Lamp, that Cal, we'll call him Cal, and I don't know if either of you have read the very first piece, have read the Justice System, but it's like it's that piece. It's like, wow, it's so cool. And there's like and then there's like some shitty essay about I don't know, $1 million extreme or something. Like
Sure.
I want to know
I
where I
cannot
want to know where
believe
he
you
went.
got that much kind of crap in the Amp magazine. You must have been inundated with that kind of crap.
Yeah, I mean, I only open the inbox really anymore when it's time to go to work. I don't really monitor the shit, but I used to, and it sucked. I mean, I used to live and breathe the thing, and now I've got way more zen regarding it. Because like Lit Quarterly was always trying to turn a profit, and that's why he stopped because he
Hmm.
couldn't make it. It cost him all this money. Lamp is just me doing my own thing in Canva. Like I pay for Canva, but that's it. I'm not there to do anything or try to get anywhere significant. That's why it's still going. Because motherfuckers don't care when I show up. They're there anyway. They're like, cool, we're here.
I was gonna ask, like, practically, how many emails do you think you get for an issue that you have to go through and like read and sift out?
It's maybe 100 or more. I mean,
Jesus.
I don't put too much. Like I don't. It's like it's hard to keep track because I'm not. I finally organized it well, but I always encourage people to send new shit in because I'm constantly like locking it and throwing away the key and like saying
Mm.
everything that's been submitted, like everything in the inbox right now is old hat. Even though there's unused poems, there's probably a bunch of submissions. But I always encourage dudes to write in something new because I've had it before where I publish something from the backlog and some guy's like, hey, I didn't want that in there. That was for another issue. And then I'm like, well, okay, well, I'm not going to take it out. And he's like, you gotta.
Sure.
And I'm like, fuck, now I got to do more work, So I try to encourage people just to fucking send me shit afresh, but yeah, I don't copy edit shit either. Like you kind of have to figure that out. There's a good way to send shit and a bad way, of course. Um, but I don't really do anything. So there's this one writer. I think it's Cal Frank with a hat on. His name's Raoul Price Valsen.
Yeah.
I don't think I could spell that if you held a gun to my head. So
Yeah, I'm probably not
He's
saying it right.
no. This guy read Eggplant. He sent me a lot of nice emails and comments. He's a good dude. I think. Yeah, it's like Raoul Vincent Price or something like that.
So you've got discourse with him. It's really interesting. I actually just found an email from this guy the other day where he blows up Lamp again, and he's giving me praise. And I, I am pretty sure it's this Cal Frank guy. So if you review those emails, you can be sure that that's high quality shit. As far as I know, he's Lit's best writer, and um, the Price Valsine thing, he like started doing the Italian libretto, right? He did that Italian
Mm.
libretto. He's really experimental, and yeah, if I were you, I'd cherish those emails and maybe even that commentary because as far as I know, he's sort of, in my opinion, this enigmatic genius. And I don't want to like make him sound too mysterious, but I do almost believe Cal Frank, if you're listening, and if you are RPV, I got you. I got you, man. Now everyone can see you. But no, I really, really want to work with him more. And I actually, I might go out of my way to encourage RPV to contribute to Unreal and maybe get a little closer because you'll be so much better for it. He's a really strong writer, and I think I've read the three of our work. Like I've read your work, Miles, and obviously Augie's, and it's good shit. It's fun.
Yeah.
So
No, his
you know,
emails are high minded. He's a smart guy.
yeah, he's cool. So we'll see about that. We'll see bringing him in. Maybe that'll be something.
I wanted to ask what gave you the idea for the photography issue? Are you a photographer?
No, what happened was I was really sourcing 4chan in general for content.
Mm.
I'd go to the 3D
Oh,
board, and there's a lot of cool shit there. I got some really cool designs, I think, for issue number 3 or 4, rather, that has kind of a 3D lamp cover. But I would always end up in P, the photography board, because it's got high resolution imagery. And you reverse image that shit and there's nothing. So a lot of it's copyright free. Now, it's not totally like moral or lawful. Any of these photographers could just show up and be like, that's a copyrighted photo, or I took that photo, take it down, and I'd pretty much have to comply. Unless I wanted, like, they could litigate. I don't know how far it would go, but they could. And
sure.
I commit LAMP to the public domain, even though it's not necessarily true. It's on a per basis case. So like eggplant is serialized partially in there. That doesn't mean it's committed perfectly to the public domain. That's up to the author. So there's all these weird screwy things, kind of like James Craig was talking about the other day. It's not as simple as it seems. Um, can you repeat the question?
What was the? Oh, so basically, you had gotten a lot of, but you'd been working on P, working with
Yeah,
photographers, and that
yeah,
sucked
so
you
I
in.
just I just started lifting shit from P. I just started taking it, and
Mm.
it's really cool. There was that Weeaboo Jones guy. He was one of the dudes I found in P. He had been posting in a lot of like recent photo threads in P, and I sniped some of his shit, and he found out, and he leaned into it, and he's this crazy like weeb, and he sends me like neurotic emails all the time.
Erotic emails.
Neurotic.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I was like, I know 4chan's a weird place, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, partially erotic, I guess. Though I mean, he draws a lot of shit, but yeah, I like P a lot. It's really reliable, and I've gone to P and I've been like, Lamp Magazine, let's rock, and I get nothing. I've been there a lot
Really?
trying to pump Lamp, and I don't get anything. It's not like Lit; they don't give a fuck.
I think a lot of boards, unfortunately, have that kind of. They're really much. They're pretty much there for the same reason that Butterfly still browses lit for entertainment. Like
Oh,
any other board that I go to, even sometimes lit, I really am just kind of doom scrolling, looking for something to chuckle at.
Hmm.
Very rarely am I genuinely on lit trying to find something to engage with because 95% of the threads are, what am I in for? Hey, is this Goy Slop good? Or Soy Jack or Frog? And I just don't get anything out of it.
Yeah.
I get more. I get more from the time I put into like the Unreal server where I actually have a genuine writing group. And that is a pitfall. We need a lot more readers than the current amount that we have, which is zero, by the way. We
yeah,
need more. We need more readers, and on lit in general.
Sure.
yeah.
That's why it's
I
so
think
exciting to have you like open up basically an inbox for people to send their crap to and get read and reviewed. Because
yeah, and
I
that's the
mean,
thing. You're right. Zero readers is not good enough, and we've got so much cool energy that there's got to be something. I want to put my back into the reviews because I want people to see, like I want to do a real job of it because that's I don't know how to get readers, to be honest. I've never known how to get readers. All of the people that read anything I've ever published are the people that contribute to it. So it's kind of like bringing it's like a play that your kids put on. You know, who's in the audience of the high school play? It's the parents. And that's what we're doing sort of. So I want to expand that too. I don't know if this is the best way, but it's my way for sure.
I mean,
What?
and there's a huge hole there, right? You have basically an absence of high quality reviewers. I mean, imagine a world without like a Harold Bloom, right? You have nobody there to really set the standard of this is a high quality work because then you have 1,000 voices saying, well, this sucks and this is good. But if you have one person who's known for being a high quality reader and a high quality reviewer, then they can sort of step in, not as an, I guess an authoritative voice would be the correct word, but they could sort of start being the definitive definition. And you have someone who comes up and says, well, I don't like the way John Smith does it. So I'm going to say it this way instead. And I like this book and I think he's wrong.
Well,
And then
you're onto
you go
something.
from having the publisher
Yeah.
side to now you have the author and the reviewer and the reader side as well.
That's actually it on the nose. Like I was listening to a podcast about fuck, it was with Lex Friedman on that hacker guy, the guy that did Shadow Crew, and he was talking about he was like the sole reviewer of these like hack services, and it gave him a lot of power. So when James Craig mentioned that, I thought to myself, hey, that's actually a power move because you could become the Harold Bloom of lit, and Harold Bloom is like he's so singular because he's so comprehensive and his voice is so loud because no one thought of doing the like boring work to like make a name for yourself. But I love doing the work, and I know like that others are there. I believe Zulu actually he told me that he wanted to do like a pretty serious like review in Lamp magazine for lit based like work. So I mean, you are onto something. There's not no power there. You can parlay it to actually like I've got I've got a book I want people to read, and so it helps us all, right? It's actually working in the right direction. And if someone else can do it, like I plan to be pretty cruel. I plan to be pretty rough. And so if maybe someone can be
Sure.
the Roper and I get to be the Ebert, I don't know. I could fat dead guy dibs. So tell me a little bit. I mean, for my sake, tell me about Unreal a little bit. Like, so I think it almost seems like Rhyme is like who is super formative? Do you know who's like foundational?
Well, so actually, you probably have the wrong people on the pod to talk about that because when I think, well, Miles, were you in the server before me?
I think you might have been because they had your interview before I joined.
Sure.
So I joined it off of like a something that got posted in a WG thread because I was looking for a genuine writing group.
Sure.
And then I hopped in and I was talking to L.A. Labuschagne. Just we were just like bullshitting, and then he's like, "Hey, you want to come on and do some like WG reviews?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And then they made me a host. I still don't know why. I did like an episode, and they're like, "Boom,
Because you're
host." I was
great.
like, "Yep,
Makes you great.
cool."
Uh, when I got to the server, it was already very active, and there's a lot of people involved. That I'm not even going to try to list everyone because I can't. They've just got to come out and do a podcast episode or some shit. But I know that yeah, the podcast was really headed by Rhyme and La Labouchaine. But when I showed up to the server, Gardner was there, Frater was there, Frater Assemblin, and I feel like I'm forgetting a couple, but no, it's been a long, it's been a thing that the ball has been rolling for a long time, I
Yeah.
guess, and like you said, Miles, new people are coming in, they're taking up responsibilities, hosting podcasts, shit like that. So yeah, it's just really collaborative. But we do have to get someone on here eventually to talk about the whole history of Unreal because it's been a couple years in the making itself.
That is trippy. I actually really appreciate you guys bringing me on. It means a lot to me. Lamp Magazine, actually, in general, saved my life a number of times. It's something I'm always able to go back to. And it sounds kind of gay, but most of my friends now are drug dealers that, or they're dead, or they're fucked up. Uh, it's really cool to bring this squad a bit closer. And I have a lot of energy and I have a lot to contribute. And so I'd like to really get in line and like don the fucking Unreal. And as far as like what I think I'd like to do is on my next release, I think I'd like to approach the guys from Unreal and ask if they might be my publisher for it. Because I'm like not super great at this formatting thing. I'm like, haven't got Chicken World yet, and as far as I can tell, the margins are fucked up. It'd be cool to like, it'd be cool to get my to be able to collaborate like that. I think so. Yeah, and you guys just fill it in
And
like
that would
nobody
probably
knows.
that probably bring a lot of cross content.
Yeah,
And like people really step up. I know we keep saying this. People really step up in Unreal. I mean, just for Tales of the Unreal, out of nowhere, the designer just kind of came from out of nowhere, stepped up, and made the project look phenomenal, and did it in no time. I mean, people with talents apply their talents in the right place, and so I think that's really cool.
yeah. Well,
Agreed.
it's an honor.
And also, I just wanted to say, it's not gay that Lamp is an important project to you because it may not have like helped me in the same way, but you know, I wouldn't trade the time that I was, trying to get these chapters out to you and waiting for them to be finished for the world. I mean, it's a great time.
Yeah,
So I think it's only going to continue.
yeah. I mean, like I put the shit on my resume. Like
Yeah.
it's the thing that I like try to tell the world I did. So I mean, it is important to me, but at the end of the day, like it's a bunch of shit posting.
That's important, man.
Yeah, the shit posting
Shit
is
posts.
the spice of life.
We're making shit posting great again. That's a real mission.
Yeah, it's been an honor talking to you guys. I will be back, and yeah, I look forward to being back.
I've been Miles McNaughton. My guest today has been Ryan, the admin of the AMP magazine. I've also had Ogden Nesmer on, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Take care, everybody.
I may have gone too far in a few places.